My name is Bree, and today I'm going to be sharing a really personal, emotional story. And I just want to give a trigger warning to anyone who's suffered any type of sexual abuse because that's going to be today's topic. So, I'm just gonna jump right into the story because I have a message that's more important to me than telling this story, but in order to get to that message, I have to tell the story. So let's get started. Everything starts with me being about 8 years old. My mom would work about 12-hour shifts every day, and she would drop me off at my grandma's house so that she could take care of me. And there was an uncle who lived there, and I wouldn't consider him my uncle, but he was related to my grandma on her side of the family, and he was living there at the time. And I remember this one specific day, I was in the living room by myself, and my grandma was somewhere, probably cooking or something, and this uncle just walks in and he locks the doors, and he came over to sit right next to me, and he just kind of went like, shh, like don't say anything, and I didn't. And then he started to undress me, and after that he kind of had me lay down on the couch, and he just spread my legs wide open. And I don't want to make it too graphic, I don't want to use nasty words, but he did oral sex on me. And I remember feeling really paralyzed, like I couldn't say anything, like I couldn't scream or call for help. I just remember laying there while he did it, and just kind of I was just really quiet, and I couldn't move, like, and it wouldn't go on for long, but it happened more than one time. And then a little bit down the road, there was a stepdad, and by this time my mom was still working 12 hours a day, and he would take care of us. So I didn't go to my grandma's house anymore, so now we're at my house. He would always treat me like I was so special, and he, if my brothers got in trouble, they got whoopings, and I didn't. I never had any consequences to deal with. And I remember one morning he went around to wake up everybody for school, and then when he came to my room, he just told me to grab all my things for school and take them into his room, which was really my mom's room. And I did. I grabbed all my stuff, and I went into the room, and as soon as I walk in the room, he tells me to put my stuff down and to take my clothes off. And I'm just thinking, like, this is just like what happened to me at my grandma's house. But since I had vowed to myself to never tell anyone about that, I did what he told me to. And I got naked, and he would get naked, and he would play these games with me, and he would tell me that these things we would do, they were games, and that there was nothing wrong with them. But I knew it wasn't okay. But he would pretty much grind his private parts on mine. And I'm using the words private parts because my mom would always tell me, like, those are your private parts. You do not ever let anybody touch them. If anybody ever touches you, let me know. And when she would ask me, I would tell her no with like the fakest face. I would tell her no, nothing like that has ever happened to me. And I was lying. And one thing I regret is not telling my mom that these things happened to me, even when she asked, because now I'm almost 21 years old, and I suffer from depression, And it may not look like it from the outside, but on the inside, I deal with so many obstacles every day just to do the simplest things. And one of the biggest problems with me is that I guess I would say that I have daddy issues, and maybe that's not the correct term, and I could definitely make a whole separate video on that. But I remember sometimes just wishing that my dad was there. And I remember feeling like if my dad was in my life, none of those things would ever happen to me. Like, I would always feel like if he was home, he could protect me. Like, he could have stopped any of that from happening. If he was home, then there wouldn't be the need for someone else to take care of us or me. But I didn't have that, and he was never in my life. He was in prison for about 13 years. I mean, even when I was younger, he left my mom as soon as he found out she was pregnant with me. And to this day, that still does hurt. Even though my dad's out of prison now, I still feel like I'm alone. And it's not just because my dad left me. I feel alone all the time because I chose to do that. I chose to not say anything to anybody. I was the one that chose to keep it a secret, and I told myself that I could be strong for myself, that I never had to say anything to anyone. But I was just so wrong. Like, that was one of the biggest mistakes of my life, and if I could go back and redo all of that, I would have said something, because now it's a struggle. Like, just daily life is just a struggle, as simple as it can be. It's so hard for me, and I can look at all these girls and just wonder, like, why did it have to happen to me? Why do I think these things? Why do these things go through my head all the time? Why do I have to be the one that's, that struggles with, like, the simplest things? And it's hard wanting to say something, but feeling like it's too late. I mean, I felt like that for a long time. But I decided that it was time to say something to someone, because I feel like it's eating at me. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm not really worth the simplest things that women deserve, like real love. And it feels like I never really understood what that was. It's like all of that stuff was taken away from me when I was a little girl. Like, the sexual innocence was taken away from me, and then the ability to learn how to truly love someone was taken away from me. But I'm really happy to say that I feel like I turned out better than I thought I would. It's still hard, but I think I turned out okay for myself, and I did it for myself. I told myself that this is not something I needed to hold over my head, and it's not my fault. It's not my fault. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I feel the need to say something, because there could be other little girls going through the same thing that I did, and they probably feel scared too. And I'm so sorry if you had to deal with anything like that, because I understand. But it's okay. It's okay to feel scared, and it's okay to feel embarrassed. But what's not okay is allowing people like that to think that there's no consequences for their actions. And I really hope that if you're someone who's watching this, or if you know anybody who's dealt with any of this, I want you to know that it's really worth it to say something, even though you're scared. Because I was, and if I could go back and change everything, I would have spoken up. And I think my life would have been much different. And if I did, if I had gotten the help that I needed, I probably wouldn't be in the position that I put myself in today. But I feel the need to speak up to help somebody else. Even if nothing comes out of this for me, I need someone else to know that it's okay and that they have a voice. It happens to young boys too, and they can suffer the same things that we do. And this video is for you. It's for you to speak up and say something, and this is for you to feel inspired to tell your own story, because I was inspired to tell my own story. And I have my family and friends who love me, and they want to see me happy. And I feel like this is the best way for me to start, because I've held it in for so long, and it was time to get it out. And don't be scared of what anyone might say. This is not for them. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. And the older you is gonna thank you. They're gonna look back and thank you for doing that. They're gonna thank you for speaking up and saying something.